Good morning. We'll get started very quick soon. Alrighty. I've got a hoarse voice, so or it's sort of like uh, an adolescent boy. I'm experiencing the pains of adolescence, I guess. Oh, here, Annette, I'm going to scoot you over a little bit. Alrighty. It is that time. So, Dan, I'm going to scoot you over just a little bit. We're going to make sure this is locked. And I'm going to set Ginger probably right here. Actually, I can set her there. You got it? Yes, we did. It was a lot of fun. And it's always good to come back home. I'm getting it back. That's right. To me, it sounds like an adolescent boy. That's right, exactly. Like Phoebe and Friends when she sings "Smelly Cat." Smelly cat, smelly cat. All right, let's start with a calf stretch. You take your left foot forward. All right, so the theme of this class is you get a chance to feel your body. Life is busy, it's distracting. We don't generally take time. I got you blocks, Ginger. I got you. We don't usually stop and take time to pay attention to ourselves. We're not set up for that because mostly when we stop to feel our bodies, it's icky. It's, ugh, I don't want to feel like this. But guess what? This is how you feel. So we want to make space for all of it, all the good stuff, all the bad stuff, because that makes up our experience. So as you're here with your left foot forward, just notice how it feels to be balanced here. So this is mostly a calf stretch. But depending on how good you are at balance, this also may be a balancing act. So just notice where you feel this the most. Can you breathe? If this is super easy, just let it be easy. It's okay for stuff to be easy. Not everything has to be hard, although you can make things hard if you'd like to. Anyone find themselves doing that in life? Making things harder than they need to be? Nice haircut, Dan. It's good. He just got his ears lower. All right, so we're going to keep the left foot forward like it is, but now you're going to keep your left leg straight. Can you reach your right hip just a little bit in front of the left one? Just enough so you feel a different stretch in the calf. Let's make sure these triple check the doors are locked so you can't get whacked. Because that would be whack, as you know. That would not. You'd be more mobile in a different way. Yeah, exactly. All right, now from here, you're going to try to keep the pelvis in this exact direction. But now we're going to take like 5 pounds of pressure off of the back foot. So now for you to do that, where does your weight have to go? Well, it has to go off of the back foot and onto the front one. So technically, what that means is you got to get your hips further over your left foot. Now, this isn't a competition, not with anyone in the room nor yourself. So just give yourself space to not be able to do a thing if you can't do it. And then you start to lighten even more of the weight off of that back foot. And if you're feeling saucy, try it out. Don't ruin yourself. Maybe you can pick up that back foot and maybe you can set it on top of the front one. But if you take a moment and if you look at my left foot, I want you to look how not still it is. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's pretty twitchy. So just know that if you're going to do this, the foot has to be twitchy. One more breath. Wherever you are, make it perfect for 3, 2, step off the block. Yeah, shake that out. Now I'm going to have, okay, so if y'all don't watch Friends, it's all good. But there's an episode of Friends when one of the characters, Phoebe, gets sick. And she has a hoarse voice and she sings a song called Smelly Cat. And so Tom is so funnily pointed. Was that you or was that Todd? Tom? Or what? Yeah, okay, good. So, someone's got their phone on. If your phone is on soundy sound, go check it. If you're not sure, maybe go check it. If not, I will. I will find your phone. So I take your right foot forward. So the song is quite brilliant. It goes, smelly cat, it's not your fault. Smelly, 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 really bad, smelly, smelly. It's not your fault. You feel like better people now, don't you? You know you're going to get entertainment too. So you keep the right leg straight, get that chest up. How does the sensation in the right leg compare to those of the left? It wasn't you. All right, well, someone's phone is still rogue. Maybe it was from outside, somewhere else, not in the room. So you imagine I caught you by your head. I'm pulling you up. How tall can you be? And you see if you can reach your left hip just a little bit more forward than the right. And you notice how this right leg feels. Most likely it's sensational. And then we start to play around with how much weight is in the back foot. Said another way, you try to shift more of your buns over the right foot. Now for you to balance on the right foot again, you have to adjust because we're never still. And so as you're adjusting, just even now, start to exaggerate the twitchiness of your right foot. So if you can make your right foot twitch unnecessarily. And then when you're ready, you keep breathing. Important instruction, you keep breathing. Don't bleed. You see if you can set that left foot on top of the right one. 3, 2, Shake that out. Alrighty. Now we're going to slide our blocks over to the green line. Your block is going to be in its most foot-shaped position. And we're going to go ahead and have our right shoulders closest to the wall with the left foot on top. For standing on the block, foot position matters. So I want your heel solid on the block. Toes don't matter. Toes can dangle. And then your pinky toe side of your foot, I want it a little bit away from the outside edge, because the block can flip on you, and that would not be flipping good. And then with the left leg straight, you set the right foot on top. You can catch one or both arms behind the back. And again, we want some twitchiness. We want some aliveness in your standing leg. Try to relax your free leg. This is the right foot. I want that leg to be as relaxed as possible. And then notice what's happening in your hips. So see if you can find a way, so you can have your hips towards the front of the foot, towards the back. So you can play around with that for just a little bit. So you shift weight forward and back. Now the only caveat to having your legs straight, your left leg straight in this case, is if there's pain in the back of your knee. If there's any pain in the back of the knee, you just slightly bend the knee. And so now we shift weight back towards the heel. You're going to keep the hips back as you arch the chest up. Imagine your shirt was tucked in if it's not. And I want you to arch the chest up as if you could untuck your shirt, lengthening the front of the body. Keep the left arm behind the back. Everyone takes the right fingertips on the wall. As the head reaches up, take some deep breaths. Notice how this feels with your eyes open if they're open. And I would recommend you never throw the head back. So when I say look forward or reach the head up, it's the tippy top of the head. So lengthen the back of your, just so you're looking straight ahead, but the head's reaching straight up. If you crunch the back of your neck, it can turn your lights out. So this right here, so straight ahead, so it's like I'm pulling your head straight up. You feel the difference? That's what I want. Yes, throwing your head back, it compresses the vertebral arteries. It's not worth it. Whatever's up there, it's not worth looking at. And then if you haven't yet, you close your eyes. Keep that fingertip on the wall. And with the fingertip on the wall, there's not going to be one moment where that fingertip's not on the wall. So the finger stays on the wall, but you're going to lighten the touch. It's almost imperceivable that that fingertip is on the wall. And then notice what your breathing is like. Now, of course, if you get dizzy or lightheaded, just open your eyes. It's no big deal. But it is super sweet. I love, when I come to beginner classes, my eyes are basically closed the whole time. It's so nice just to feel your body like this. And now if you can keep the eyes closed, we're going to shift weight back towards the heel. So we're going to get weight off of the toes. See if you can pick your toes up off the block. That was a little too much off the block. One more deep breath. Awesome. Now we're not going to step off the block. I'm going to have you open your eyes, and I want you to find a way, if you can, without touching the foot down, you're going to find a way to get both of your feet on the block. So you might need to look down at them. If you need to step off, it's all good. Now with both feet on the block, the insides of your feet should be touching. If you can let go of the wall. You can take both arms behind the back or just let the arms hang. We're just going to shift weight forward and back, and I want you to feel the weight of your body compressing the block. Legs are more or less straight. And then I'm going to have everyone look down for a second. And just notice what it feels like to look down and shift weight forward and back. You can see your feet. That's kind of cool. But of course, you know the problem with this is that this is what we look like all day. We're really good at slouching. And so though there are benefits to this, I actually want you to almost never do that again. I want you to imagine, just like before I've caught you by your head, I'm pulling your head straight up. You look straight ahead. And I want you to find the spot where your head is perfectly balanced over the rest of your body. Try to find center on the feet. Eyes open. Take one more breath from here. And then you'll take a light fingertip touch on the wall one more time. Close your eyes. And then you check in. How does left leg feel compared to the right? Is there any difference? And if the answer is no, just it's all good. But there's definitely a difference. So instead of just going with I don't feel it, just see if you can get connected to anything. Just assume there is a difference. And what is it? One more breath. Awesome. You open your eyes. I'm going to try to wiggle that right foot to the center of the block, perhaps without looking. And you set the left foot on top for second side. And for now, you don't have to use the wall if you don't need it. I mostly just have us do that with the eyes closed because your eyes are closed. Just in case protocol. But from here, we play around, shifting weight forward and back, forward and back. They look similar. They seem similar, but your left and right legs are very different. And so for me, and this is also pretty true for you if whichever hand you're dominant on, if you're right hand dominant, this is your worst side to balance with. What that looks like is that your foot's just more twitchy. It feels less stable. You have to work a little bit more. It needs your awareness. Even to this day, if you were to see me from my ankle up, balancing on my right foot, I would look pretty stable. But my right foot twitches like crazy. The twitching is the thing we care about. Because if your foot doesn't twitch when you balance, number one, you fall over. Number two, what that tells you is you have a little lack of sensitivity in the feet. So I want you to fight for this connection to your foot. When you're ready, you try closing your eyes. You can use the wall. Noticing how this right foot feels on the block. What's it like to breathe? Two more breaths. If you can, you shift way back towards the heel. You pick up your toes. As you take this one more breath from here, make it deep, make it count for 3, 2, and then when you're ready, you open your eyes, you reorient yourself to the room, and then you walk around. Let's go ahead and slide our blocks over to the front 2 corner edges of the mat. Feet about hip width apart. We're going to interlace the fingers. You're going to catch the nape of the neck. You're going to squeeze your elbows in. 2 things from here. Your hips push back. Your elbows point up. As your elbows point up and your hips push back, can you slide your shoulder blades, your scapula away from the ears? Can you get a contraction along either side of your spine? And what does it feel like to breathe here? So because we've lengthened the front of your body, it's harder to breathe. And so just notice that. If you feel lightheaded, make sure you tick-tock the head. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Good? Yeah. You might have been crunching this a little bit too much. Yeah, so you did the perfect thing. Thanks for taking care of yourself. Now from here, you're going to keep the elbows pointing up. Keep the hips reaching back. You're going to lean your body over to the left. Perfectly linearly to the left. Try to get your right elbow slightly higher than the left. Can you get a stretch along the right side of your waist? In fact, as you lean your upper body to the left, can you reach your hips to the right? Squeeze your elbows in. Yeah, that's it. Beautiful. Now we switch sides. Back to center, elbows squeeze on in. You lean the other way. Reach the hips in the opposite direction. Arch up. Stretch out the side of your waist. Huge deep breath. For 3, 2. We come back to center. Help your head back up to neutral. Take the arms up high. Give them a swing. Tick-tock the head. Now I would like to horrify you for a moment. Just for a moment. Just so most of you have heard this before. But lightheadedness. So the lightheadedness trick, so you can relax your arms. This is like lifesaver right here. You tick-tock your head. Just right ear to right shoulder, left ear to left shoulder. I have a tendency to get lightheaded. And so this is coming from having experience with it. Your experience will obviously be different, but this is the difference between you passing out and not. The problem with passing out, no matter how tall or short you are, imagine I've got a watermelon right here, and I drop it. What happens to the watermelon? It bounces. No, it splats. That's your head if you pass out. So we don't want to pass out, so this little thing is so simple. If this doesn't alleviate it, find a way to get your head below your heart, take your legs up the wall. Okay? So that being said, let's take your feet about shoulder width apart. You're going to bend the knees, fold forward, take your hands on your blocks. Both the hips. Now, this is a yoga class, and I don't know how yoga is for you. I hear that it's different in different places, like as far as etiquette is concerned. And you might have been in a yoga class where you're required to obey and do every instruction perfectly. This is not that class. And so if you do ever come to class and you're like, oh, this was a bad idea, I don't feel well, just lie down, take your legs up the wall. Now this is like, I'm tired, I feel achy, it's too much. You take a break, you lie down. Yes, not like I'm sick. Please don't stay here, please leave. So that's number 1. Number 2, from here. Anyone notice it's harder to touch your toes every year? So how we deal with that in the body. So right now, I want your knees to be pretty bent. When it comes to your hips, the main problem we have with our hips is not hamstrings like you were probably taught. The bigger problem is gluteals. But the more sensational part of your body is your hamstrings. So I want the knees quite bent as much as you need to bend them for there to not be. There can be a little bit of a stretch in hamstrings, but I don't want it to be a lot. And then you're going to take your blocks underneath your shoulders. You're going to try to slide your shoulder blades down. You can keep your hands on the blocks. See if you can bend the knees a little bit more. With the knees bent, without letting the insides of your feet come up, can you push your knees apart? That's it. You got it. And I would just walk the blocks closer to your feet. Just a little bit. Yeah, you see how that shifted weight back? And how do you push this down and arch this up? Beautiful. All right, from here, you're going to actually come up onto fingertips. You're going to get the chest even higher. Now, for most of us, when we start doing stuff with our spine and extension, so this is spinal extension, what we want to do afterwards is stretch it out. Anyone know what this is? Stretching out your back is code for? It's code for slouching, and you're really good at it. So I actually want you to, if you could, just get rid of it, at least for like 2 weeks, and just see how your back feels. Literally, the last time I stretched my back was 2012. It was a long time ago, and my back only feels better. So you don't just listen to me. Of course, like you got to test it out for yourself. All right, so we're arching up. I'm trying to relax my belly towards the floor. I'm very much contracting my back. In fact, you're going to keep the back in this position. Let your arms hang for just a moment. And so for you to do this, your extensors have to be on right now, which is what I want. And so we use our hands on the blocks to help protect the back. This is all about keeping you safe. Every word out of my mouth is about keeping you safe. If you need to take a break, you stand up, shake the legs out, and come back. From here, so we're going to take our fingertips back on the blocks. Keep the chest and the head about where it is. You're going to lift and lower your hips. Never quite straightening the legs. Coming as low as you can. I unfortunately, this morning got lotion in my eyes, which has led to a runny nose and all kinds of fun stuff, so I apologize. Three, 2. Last one. You sink the hips low. Arch the chest up. Arch on the fingertips. Push the knees wide. For 3, 2. Let's go ahead and stack the blocks. Set them aside. Come all the way down to the floor and on 2 hands and knees. Woof is right. All right, so the problem with learning new things is what? Whew. When you learn new things, how do you feel learning something new? Now, if there's pain in your knees, is there pain in your knees? Okay, good. Okay, good. We're just on hands and knees, and so we're going to do a lot of, I'll come help you if you're doing something wrong, I promise. But right now, we're just on hands and knees, so if your knees are super close, it's going to make you turtle. Turtle, turtle. I want the knees to be under the hips so there's space for your lower back to drape. So, when you go to learn something new, if you didn't know this, one of the reasons why learning is hard is because it feels like you feel dumb because you don't know the thing. And so for you to learn something new, you have to have this experience called, I feel dumb. And most adults are not cool with that. So for you to get stronger, what would you guess you have to experience? Well, similar. It's very similar. It's discomfort, also known as weakness. And so if you're ever in class and we're doing something like quad burners and your legs are tired, your go-to, because you got a very good brain and your brain's trying to keep you safe, is, oh no, this is bad. And I'm not saying to keep doing it, but just know that if you are ever in class and you're feeling weak, yay, that means you're getting stronger. That being said, you're going to grip your fingertips into the floor, slide the shoulder blades down. I want the hands to stay pretty wide, so take your hands even wider. There you go. So pinkies off the edges of your mat. The nice thing about having your hands wide is that most of us have pretty tight shoulders, and that actually helps. That actually helps with any kind of issues you've got with your shoulders. Now, you're welcome to stay right here. You do not have to push into down dog, but if you'd like, you're going to push into down dog without slouching, which means that instead of coming into down dog like this, right, because this is this, we don't want to practice this. You're going to try to keep the distance from your shoulders and your ears. You're going to try to keep your tailbone pointing up, push back into down dog. So as my head is actually above my arms. And then you imagine you have a doggy tail. You wiggle the hips from here. And again, the most important thing you're doing right now is feeling your body. You're not trying to fit a shape. Now, I'm giving you a shape because of safety. But it's okay. Everyone looks pretty good right now. Remember, the only person who actually knows really 100% is you. So as you're noticing, just if there's any pain, that's a good sign to back off. Then we bring the hips back to center. Knees stay soft. You arch up. Close your eyes. Let's take 3 more breaths together. Grip with your fingertips as you crush the index knuckles into the floor. How effortless can you have this be? How efficient can you have it be? Eventually, believe it or not, you can even take a nap in this position. It's pretty nice. Awesome. And now from here, we touch the knees down. Let's come all the way onto elbows. We'll have the palms face up. Wiggle the fingers. You make a fist and roll the wrists. We're almost there, Tom. You're ready. He was already on his belly for nap pose. You're ready. You're ready. All right, let's go ahead and grab one of our blocks, and we're going to set the block between our elbows. Was that yay? Is that what I just heard? Because that's what I was just interpreting. I was interpreting, darn it, for yay. I usually bring my translator, or I turn my translator on. All right, so elbows are under the shoulders. You have the blocks, so turn your block in the widest dimension, Tom. That's it. I want the shoulders over the elbows. I want the hips to stay over the knees. If you look at me for a moment, there's a couple ways you can be sneaky here. So if I push my shoulders back, well, this is easy. I want your shoulders to stay over the elbows. I want your hips to stay where they are. You straighten the arms. And then you bend them, you take them back down. And you make sure you breathe. And just know that this is supposed to burn if it burns. If it's easy, it's okay if it's easy. Up and down you go. Close your eyes. See if you can get present to what your body is having to do to lift and lower you. I don't know if you know this or not, but you are heavy. You're super heavy. Just imagine someone tossing you 100-pound weight. Can anyone tell me how you catch a 100-pound weight? You don't, exactly. You just let it pass on by because it will murder you. And now you're asking your arms to do the weight that your legs do, and your arms aren't your legs. They're way smaller. 3, 2, last one, you're going to stop with the elbows 1 inch off the floor. Squeeze your elbows in. Make sure you shift the shoulders over the elbows. Yes, Dan, you got it. And just breathe. Now, if your elbows can't stay up, you're a failure. You should give up on yoga. See if you can crush this down. Crush that. Yeah, just like that. No, of course not. That just means your elbows are up 1 inch. It's okay. You're perfect. You're doing great. Take the elbows just a little bit lower, and you crush the stuff down. Remember, this isn't. There's not perfect. There's just what you're feeling. So can you feel this stuff? It might feel like ghost pepper in your arms right now. One more breath. Awesome. Set the elbows down. Let's get rid of the block. Now, if you happen to be growing a parasite or a human being in your belly, you might not lay on your belly. But if you can, you walk the legs all the way back. And we're going to roll into our arms. We're going to lie down for the best yoga pose ever. Just pay attention. Yep, you can roll into your side. There we go. And now you are currently in the best yoga pose ever. So especially if you deal with back pain, this is the best thing I can give you. If you want to be able to get up and down off the floor when you're 100, this is the best thing I can give you. You give yourself a good excuse called the quality of your life as you age. And every day you get on the floor, you lie down, you take care of yourself. Because from your toes to your head right now, your spine is slightly extended and you don't have to do anything to be here, except for the effort it took you to get on the floor. And so as you're breathing, you just notice what is true about your body right now. Now, that always changes because we're never the same moment to moment. But just for right now, what can you connect to? It could be physical sensations like the temperature of the air around your skin, the feel of your belly and your rib cage, pushing you away from the floor and then settling back towards the floor. It could be tension in the face or around the hips or the legs. But it also might be there's emotion present. It could be something happy like joy or excitement, but it could also be tiredness or uncertainty or whatever the case is. Can you make space for it? Can you own it? Can you breathe into it? Can you allow for however you are to just be here right now? Appreciate the you that walked in through the door. You let go of everything else. We'll be here for maybe another minute. And I want you to try to see if you can inhale for most of the time we're here. And again, if we're here and you fall asleep, what I have to say to you is, yay! You fell asleep. Good. Stay asleep. I'll wake you at the end of class. Take maybe 2 more breaths. And then from here, you're going to bend the knees, pick the feet up, roll the ankles. And what you can do is, because we're going to do a couple things from here, you can actually come onto elbows and knees like this. You can cross your wrists and just rest your head down. You can just wiggle your hips from here. Okay, you're welcome. You can tick-tock the shins, you can wiggle the hips. And specifically, notice how your lower back feels. The number of sensation. A lot, a little. And we're going to do an experiment here. So just remember these sensations, relax the legs down. And then from here, we're going to slide elbows under the shoulders. It's like this, so we'll be in reading pose. You can take the forearms parallel just like we were before. It's perfect. You're just going to keep relaxing your belly towards the floor. All right, so just a really quick, so there are some things, there's a lot of stuff that's different about our studio, but in particular, it's the things we instruct and why we instruct them. And just know that everything we do in this room, it has a purpose. I mean, we work on handstands mostly because they're fun, but also because arm strength is important, being able to take your arms overhead. And just so you know, being on hands and knees, being in down dog, that's working on handstands. Just so you know, it's the beginning of a handstand. So, when you think about what we look like all day, how we've evolved with chairs and phones and computers and desks, we're basically slouched on. See if you can relax your belly. Completely, yes, relax your belly. And mostly what people want to do is just like that, they want to tuck the tailbone and lift the belly up. And this is actually, you might be able to get away with it, but it is for a limited time only. Eventually, this will come and get you. I want you to be able to relax your belly and be here. When I started yoga, forget it. There is no way. It was like a board was on my back. And I had back pain. I have sciatica, I have scoliosis, like I had issues. And this has really, really opened up a lot for me. I have so much, I'm crazily more flexible and stronger at 42, almost. I'll be 42 August 7th. Yay, I think. I'm alive. But we're slouching all the time. It makes sense that this is hard. So close your eyes for a moment. See if you can connect to your belly. How relaxed can you get your belly to be? And then I want you to see, you're not going to pick your arms up. See if you can relax your arms like you were going to pick your arms up off the floor. What has to turn on for you to lighten the touch of your arms on the floor? It's your back. So I want you to see if you can connect to your back muscles. Beautiful. And then from here, so now you can relax that. This is probably going to be limited. Your job is to keep your head and your face right here, bend the knees. And then tick-tock your shins. Anyone feel more or less sensation in lower back? Is that crazy? I never get over this. So the only thing we've done that's different is we've lengthened your belly, and it's so much louder. And so just know your relationship to your back might be a little skewed. You may have some misunderstandings about your back, like the problem is your back. It actually is your back, but it's coming from your belly. So just know that that's the case. One more breath. Awesome. We relax the legs down. We're going to roll onto our left side. You're going to bend the knees, and you're going to stack the knees. So you have a top and a bottom leg. The top leg is the right leg. The bottom leg should be the left leg. You're going to keep the left leg where it is. You're going to take the right leg back. So it's like a pinwheel. And then so I want you arching the chest up. I don't care that the right elbow gets down, but I do care that you're arching up as you try to get that right elbow down. And so whether the right elbow gets down or not, it's all good. That's it. And then with your eyes closed, you breathe. Where is there limitation? Where is there tightness? And really, every pose we do in this room is a breathing pose, but especially twists, because twists, in addition to having a baby growing in your belly, they get rid of, you have less room to breathe with. And so we actually have two ways of breathing. There's diaphragmatic and there's thoracic. Diaphragmatic is your belly. Upper thoracic is your rib cage. That's a long story short. But the question is, can you get your rib cage to move as you inhale? Any expansion. Your ribs have two joints, one across the front where the sternum is, and then around the back towards the spine where your rib bones attach. And if you can't feel movement, just know that puts you in the category called normal. If you can feel any movement, that's insane. That's what we're trying to get to. Keep your elbows right where they are. Shift your shoulders to the left. Oh, goodness. How did she know? One more deep breath. Now, right about where your elbows are, you're going to set the hands and straighten the arms. Don't let the legs move. You walk your hands over to the left as far as you can without moving the legs. Then with this left arm straight, you pull the left shoulder down and back. You can arch up on the right hand fingertips as you try to turn, looking over your left shoulder. Can you see your foot back there? If all of a sudden it got easier, that's because you're turning the wrong way. What's going on back there? Can you see your foot? Whether or not you can see your foot, can you wiggle your toes? Can you feel that your foot is back there? One more deep, deep breath. All right, now this may take a little wiggling. We're going to turn around. You're going to face the wall. You're going to scoot your hips up to the green line. And then you're going to lie down. You're going to take your legs up the wall for the second best yoga pose ever. Now remember, for second best, I don't want your hips close to the wall because that actually impedes the blood flow to circulate from the feet back towards the heart. But especially if you have any issues with your legs, from the knees to the hips to the feet, 2 minutes twice a day, this is the best thing I can give you. And now you just notice, you are askew right now. If we took you to Target, I could purchase you. That's how askew you are. Thank you, Helen. The two of us win getting that joke. Some of you are thinking, I got the joke, it wasn't funny. And you just notice. Just take a couple more breaths here. Breathing into that space you have created from first side twist. And one more breath. And I want you to take one of your hands and I want you to feel around the lower back. I want your tailbone to be definitely on the floor, but I want you to see if you can feel under lower back, and I want there to be this space that we could like drive a Hot Wheel car underneath lower back like it was a tunnel. And your job is to keep that space between your lower back and the floor with the hips down. You take your feet off the wall. You wiggle the toes, you give the feet a little splishy splashy. Now if you can't do that or it's hard, just know you've met your match, and that's why we're here. So make sure you're breathing. So take your feet back on the wall. How do you get this up? Nope, that's your butt. How do you get this up? Any more? That's it. Now take your feet off the wall. How do you keep this up? Bend the knees a little bit more. Now you shake them out, but this stays up. This is called your back's protected. Okay, good. That's awesome. One more breath. Perfect. Now you're going to bend the knees, take the feet all the way down to the floor. Take the feet wide. Tick-tock the knees. Same idea, we're just feeling and noticing. It's pretty neat. All right, so the setup for this next side, it matters how far your feet are. So if your feet are super close together, your legs are going to get tangled up. So I want you to make sure you can feel underneath your pinky toes, the outside edges of your mat. And now we're going to drop the knees over to the right. And we're going to roll over for second side twist. So knees drop over to the right. You arch the chest up. You get the right elbow down first. And then as you arch up, you then try to get the left elbow down. And you'll never guess what I'm going to tell you to do next. Yay! Ding, 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 ding. It's like you've been to classes, Matt. You know what you've won? The ability to do it outside of class and all the time. Did you know you can breathe all the time? You don't have to wait for yoga class. Isn't that cool? Slide this bottom foot forward just a little bit more. This one. There we go. Perfect. And now with your eyes closed, it's time to compare. Just like we were saying earlier, left and right sides are very, very different. But we sort of relate to them like they're the same. So most of you know this. My background is fitness. I was a trainer for a long time. Never, ever had any interest in doing yoga. Any more than it's a supplement. I'll keep the real deal. Give me my weights, give me my sprinting, my running. But the problem with that for me in particular was that every year my ability to move my body was a little bit worse. And so after my last son was born, Caravaggio, it was I would wake up in the morning and it was a process to stand up. And then it was a process to pull my shoulder blades away from my ears. It was like, it felt like I was 1,000 years old. Still was not too interested in yoga, but Andrew was doing his teacher training, walk your elbows over to the right. And so I was like, you know what, I trust Andrew. I've literally never been around somebody who knows as much of the body as him. By the way, in case you didn't know, Andrew's my husband. Still, I mean, I was with him for 5 years before I would do yoga. Was not that into it. Mostly because I did not know that you could get good at things. I was never taught learning requires feeling dumb. I never connected that dot at least. So I did his training. It was super awesome. You have homework to do. It involves having a practice. It's pretty rigorous. No one could ever do the practice videos. They're so hard. But that's not the point. The point is that you're learning how to teach stuff you can't do, because that's going to happen. So I did the practice, the most yoga I've ever done in my life. You wouldn't believe it. I felt great. So great. One more deep breath. Huge inhale. Keep inhaling for 3, 2. As you exhale, you're going to set the hands under the shoulders and straighten the arms. And then you walk your arms over to the right. That right shoulder blade pulls down and back as you turn the chest. You can come up on the left hand fingertips. You're trying to pitch the upper body away from the floor as you turn. See if you can get your back to contract as you twist, relaxing the right side of your waist. Close your eyes. Let's take 2 more deep breaths from here. Awesome. You're going to catch your legs and swing them forward. You're going to scooch away from the wall so that there's space for us to lie back, which we're going to do in a moment. Now, there's a couple ways to deal with slouching, or the illusion of it. So slouching is sort of like this. And by the way, why it hurts to herniate discs is because they squirt out towards your spinal cord. And guess where your spinal cord is? It's in the back. And so if your discs herniated this way, it wouldn't be painful. But because they herniate towards your spinal cord, it's super painful. So that's why this is so problematic. So there's a couple ways we can deal with this. So I want you to arch up like you're trying to untuck your shirt. Your arms are behind the back. This movement right here, I could not do this for the first 5 years of my practice. This was like nothing's happening. And so the feeling is, so this is hip flexion with spinal extension. That's what we're fighting for. One of the other ways you can do this sort of without doing it is you just straighten your shirt out. We're trying to get rid of shirt crinkles. So how you know what side of your joint is short or long is where your shirt crinkles are. So you can see there's a bunch of crinkly crinkles. If I just straighten my shirt, okay, well that does deal with the problem of shirt crinkles, but it doesn't deal with the problem of my spine being a slouch. And so this is the image I want you to have. Shake the legs out. Long story short, when I was done with the teacher training the first time, guess what I did? I can go about my life now. Thank you very much. See you, yoga. I'll take what I like to leave the rest. It was about 2 weeks later when I woke up and I was like, what? This is what I felt like? Did I feel like this is awful? And that was it. That's it. So why I'm here with you today is because this has made such a difference for me. I just love that you have this ability that you can actually feel good in your body. That was not possible for me with fitness. I was always pushing myself, so awful. Go ahead and grab one of your blocks. Hopefully it's not too far away. Speaking of not feeling awful in yoga class, you may not agree with that statement in a moment. This is like, you might have this feeling like this woman is crazy. What was I thinking? So here's the deal. This is what we would call miserable. Your job is not to just like trust me and ignore. If you know what to do, you can lie back. Don't worry about it. What's non-negotiable is you cannot let your hips come up. Your hips have to stay down, which means your head might not get down. So if you know you have stuff going on with your back, you get a second block. You take that second block and you're going to have it ready to lie over it. Keep the hips down for sure and see if you can get your belly to relax. I'll come and help you. You just put a block under the head. It's all good. Make sure you're breathing. And it's uncomfortable. If you lie over a block is the first 100,000 times, yes, that's the face. You're going to have this thought like, oh, but the block's in the wrong place. It's okay if you need a second block, we can put one. That's okay, yeah. Perfect, perfect. That's it. I'm going to get a second block for you. And so it's not the position of the block. It's how often you're in this position. And so please, please, please just be sweet with yourself where it's uncomfortable. Let's see, it's probably a little too close. Shoot, there you go. And I'm going to put 2 blocks underneath your head. Go ahead and lie back. Yeah, a little higher. You can do it anywhere. You can put the block anywhere, but the lower it is tends to be hardest. And so there is no adjustment. Okay, I hope you can hear me. There is no adjustment that makes this feel better other than time spent here. And so wherever this is the hardest for you, I want you to breathe right there into the body. So this is one of those ones that you will probably be easy for you until a while. But just notice if you feel like lightheaded, like stay connected to your belly. Pay attention. Yeah, well, it's not. But if you'll know if it is, if you have any doubt, you just roll off the block. You can lie on your back or your side. Just take care of yourself. But just keep paying attention and feeling it. Okay? You're welcome. So huge deep breaths. Now, right where? So it's a little. So if you have your head on a block, just know you want to spend some time without a block. So some of you have 2 blocks. If you have 2 blocks, you try to get rid of it. Take a couple breaths. The main thing that is actually in danger is actually your neck. So if there's any pain in your neck, that's a non-starter. But this is very safe for your back. So right now I want you to gently push your hips into the floor, very gently, almost no intensity. You gently push your head into the block or the floor. Right where the block is in your back, you're going to contract that meat. So you can find a way to lift your back off of the block, but do not let your hips come up. You push the hips actually down. If this is hard for you or you're not quite sure, just let it be confusing. Just let your body figure it out. You have a connection to your back, although it may not be very clear. Slow, deep breaths, and then you relax that. Let your spine drape over the block. Relax your arms, relax your face. And then one more time, you're going to gently push your head, push your hips into the floor. Try to lift your back off of the block, arch the chest up. You're going to keep your left leg straight. Pick the left leg up 1 inch. So what I would say for you is instead of worrying about the leg, so left leg is up 1 inch. Go ahead and pick your head up. There you go. Try to relax your head down to 1 block. Okay, just take 1 breath. Huge inhale. Okay, do you have vertigo? Okay, got it. So do you feel dizzy at all? So one of the things you can do is relax that leg down, switch to the other leg, open your eyes wide. You're going to keep your eyes in line with your head as you turn your head left and right. That's one of the things that I have a couple clients that deal with that. Now your job, and you're going to try to arch all this stuff up. Now you're going to keep that right leg up 1 inch. Hips stay down. Can you pick the left leg up 1 inch? Oh, no. The answer very well may be no for 3, 2. Relax that down. Bend the knees. Take the feet to flat. Bend the knees. Arch up, arch up. Take the feet wide. Feet wide, feet wide. Right where the block is in the back. See if you can contract those. Lift this stuff up. Lift this stuff up. Push the hips down. Hips push out. Yes. Tick-tock the knees side to side. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Slow range of motion. Don't force it. Try to relax your face. Now here's for the fun part. 1 more breath. And now you do not sit up off of the block. Imagine you're a hot dog at the convenience store. You roll off the block. Inhale as you roll. Inhale, inhale, inhale. You got to inhale. Inhale and roll straight back onto your back. Pick your head up. Straight back onto your back. Relax the head all the way down if you can. Walk the legs out to straight. Relax the head all the way down if you can. Just let your body be. Okay, perfect. Is that okay now? Okay, good. Now, how does this feel? Isn't that great? Is that shock? Like, how is that even possible is my question. It is so miserable and yet so wonderful. So the promise again isn't that you necessarily feel great in class, but afterwards you feel better. So especially if that was hard for you, close your eyes right now if you can. If you have stuff like vertigo, you got to take care of yourself. You might need to open the eyes, turn the head left and right, take care of yourself. But just notice, how does your back feel? How do your legs feel? If you can have your arms be by your side and straight, I recommend it just because our elbows are bent most of the time. It's nice. Your biceps have a chance to be lengthened. And I'm going to challenge you to see how deeply can you inhale. In fact, the normal breaths you take, can you somehow find a way to expand your inhales, expand the lungs beyond what you think is even possible? Said another way, can you shake from the effort of your inhale? There's a lot of focus, tends to be a lot of focus on exhaling. We are inhale-centric in this practice because that is where it's hardest. It's harder to inhale. It takes your attention. It takes your awareness. Every exhale, you're trying to find a way to somehow relax one more level, one more layer of tension in the body and let it go. Can you allow yourself, even if you can't fall asleep, can you allow yourself to be as relaxed as you would be in a deep sleep? Try to imagine perfect circulation and blood flow to the fingertips, to the feet. Slow, slow, deep breaths. You feel the floor underneath your body, holding you up. Like we were talking earlier, life is full of distractions. And we're pretty well trained and we're really good at getting distracted. That's actually why we don't play music in our classes. Because having this space where you can actually be with you without trying to fix you or change yourself or try to be a certain way, is so sweet. It's just a sweet little gift you can give yourself. It's hard being alive. Dealing with all those thoughts and all the things you got to do that you don't feel like it. And you're supposed to appreciate it all. It's like, ugh, sometimes it's hard. And so, however you feel right now, give it some space. Have it be okay. Slow, deep breaths. Relax your jaw, behind the eyes, your fingertips, your toesies, your belly. I'm just going to be here for maybe 30 more seconds. Just keep allowing for you to discover maybe something new about yourself. What does it feel like to have your body today? Maybe take a moment to appreciate it. To appreciate the you that showed up in class today. Make space for all the things that you are, all the things you're not. Take maybe 2 or 3 more deep breaths. Let yourself replenish all the used up energy, muscles, all that stuff. And on this next breath, you start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. You can roll the head left to right on the floor. Make a fist and roll the wrists. now we'll go ahead and bend the knees. Take the feet to flat, as wide as the mat. If you can, take your arms overhead. Tick-tock the knees. Let the hips roll left to right along with it. One more breath. And then you're going to pick a side. You're going to roll over. Make your way to standing. Slow and easy. And have your, roll over to your side and take your time. So my recommendation, next time when you get up, I would roll here first. Right here, just like this. And give yourself a moment here. And then from here, then you slowly sit up. You feeling lightheaded at all? Okay, so good, so good. And just take your time. I'm going to instruct us to the end of class. But you can come up onto hands and knees for a moment first. It's up to you. Yeah, you get closer, just take your time. There's no rush. And then if you're not up yet, you stand on up. Arch the chest up. And so as promised, there might be this desire to stretch all this stuff up, and my recommendation is you actually don't do that, because this is part of the problem. We want to try to get all this stuff up. Last time, I'm going to have you interlace the fingers, catch the nape of the neck. You squeeze the elbows in. As you try to point the elbows up, you push the hips back. Just a couple little tick-tocks. See if this feels any different. It might feel more open. It might feel more like you can get more stretchiness out of it. And then we come back to center. You help the head back to neutral. Let's bend the elbows. Take the palms face up for bad waiter. Elbows are by the side, palms are face up. You shrug your shoulders down and away from the ears. And the first thing I want you to see if you can feel is a stretch between your shoulders and your ears. As you depress your shoulders. Of course, as you know, I want you to be happy and full of joy in life. But your shoulder blades, those I want depressed. Just as depressed as you can get them. And if you haven't yet, you reach the wrists apart. Kick the elbows forward. You imagine you have a bowl of soup in your hands. You're trying to pour the soup out of the thumb side of your hands. And the setup is really all for this moment where we reach the elbows forward. As the elbows reach forward and the shoulder blades pull down, can you get your hips back a little bit? Push your hips back a little bit more, Jamie. Hips back. Yes, that's it. Isn't that weird? He was like, which way is back? I don't know. Says us all sometimes. So good. One more time, you pull those shoulder blades down for 3, 2, head reaches straight up, 1. And then as you exhale, you let your arms relax by your side. Close your eyes. Give yourself one more moment to check in. Notice how your hands and your feet feel. And most importantly, notice what it's like to breathe. If you haven't thanked yourself before you open your eyes, give yourself one more big old thank you. And of course, from me to you, that you're here, that you trust me is so crazy. I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot wait to see you next time. Self high fives. Have a fabulous Monday. See you again soon.